Right now we have joining us our 5-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion, Jimmie Johnson, our most recent race winner. He won at the Brickyard last week. He's 4th in points. He's got 3 wins. So that's bodes well for him come chase time. And Jimmie, talk about winning at the Brickyard and kind of, you know, you're very busy this week, and we saw you a lot on television and so forth, but those are the kinds of things you get when you win big races like that. But talk about, you got 6 to go before the chase, and obviously you want to pick off some more wins.
I do. It was, you know, a great race on Sunday, and so much pride that went along with, you know, successful day on pit road, on the racetrack, fast race car, what I did behind the wheel. You know, a lot to be proud of on last Sunday. And enjoyed Monday at home, and then Tuesday went up for the ESPN car wash and had a great experience there, and very excited to see the progress I feel our sport is making and NASCAR is making through the sports world, and it's most evident, you know, walking through the halls of ESPN. So a great experience there, and one in which where Rick Mears called in during the NASCAR Now spot and completely caught me off guard. I had no idea he would call in, and we were live on air, and I didn't know if we were taping. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a practical joke kind of taking place at first, but just a cool experience, and one I've savored a lot and enjoyed this week. But clearly we're at another racetrack, and once we get on track, you know, everything changes, and it's about the present and trying to win another race here at Pocono. So I'm excited. I think what we had in Indy will cross over very well here. You know, we didn't have that kind of speed when we were here the first time, but I think we're a little smarter when we went back to Indy and perfected things, and certainly hoping for the same thing here.
Thank you, Jimmie. We'll take questions now. We'll start here with Jim and then move over to Claire.
Jim Undershaw, Observer. With no disrespect to your teammate, considering how the chase operates, would you rather have the 3 wins or the points lead?
3 wins. I mean, when I look at last year's points battle, you know, with it being a tie, every point you can have in the postseason is important. There are a lot of good things to come with leading the points. I've always felt and I've always said that, you know, the pressure that is on the points leader going in, you know, through the end of the postseason, or regular season, I should say, there's something there that has helped me in the past. And I think the team, I mean, once the chase starts, any type of exposure to pressure for the crew guys, the over-the-wall guys, for the driver, that's all helpful, because, you know, the chase is so important, and the emotion, you might dodge it for a week or two, or might get deeper into the chase before it really hits you, but at some point it will, and the more exposure you have to that pressure, I think the better.
Go Claire, then we'll go Bob. Go ahead, Claire.
Claire Beelang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Probably not enough credit given to the drivers for how good they are at what they do, but you were talking to me in Victory Lane about figuring out Indy and what makes you so good there and how you figured it out. And you take Denny Hamlin here, and he's figured this place out. Can you talk about figuring a racetrack out, what you do to do that? And, I mean, if you knew it everywhere, you'd be great everywhere, but a little more about that. Figuring out Indy and looking at how Denny does Pocono.
Yeah, and, you know, there's some tracks you just come to and it clicks, and I think Pocono has been that for Denny. Was it he or Carl that won their first time here? Maybe both of them did. But there's just certain tracks that click for people, and that also, you know, clearly the driver is on the track, but a crew chief has a set style, and when the driver style and the crew chief style match on a given track, you know, you're fast and things work out really well. You know, I'd say Indy, Bristol, Sonoma, those tracks were probably the most difficult tracks for me to sort out, and took years to figure out the line and the driving style needed. And if you start the weekend off and overdriving the car, doing the wrong things, you instantly change your path. You start adjusting the car to things that you don't need to adjust it to. And then usually mid-race, for me, something clicks, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's how I do it. Well, now I've got my car set up to do something else. And that's where it just compounds, and it takes time. And Indy took me, I don't know, 5 or 6 years to get sorted out. Bristol, quite a long time. Sonoma, the same. And it just, those 3 tracks don't fit my driving style, but I've worked hard to make the right changes to myself and remind myself when I show up how to drive that track.
Are you patient enough to wait 5 years to figure out a track?
I'm probably more patient than most. I don't feel like I have been at times, and I've left those tracks all very frustrated, but you know, coming up through the ranks, anyone I would speak to, if they're wearing a suit, if they were a race car driver, if they were whatever it was, didn't matter, sponsor, owner, driver, everyone said have patience, and I hated to hear it, but it is very true. Patience helps in so many ways in the sport.
Let's go with Bob. Then we'll go Marty, David, Nate. Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Speaking of patience, do you have to be patient on pit road this week, or how do you handle coming back to a place where you were hit twice the last time and know that there seemed to be at least some confusion to what was going on?
Yeah, I'll definitely be aware in that final segment leaving. I didn't feel like I was impatient there last time, so I'll start more patient, and then I feel like I can get back to where I was. But with so many people having trouble there, I'm not sure what took place. And sure, it's a smaller segment, but we have much smaller segments at other racetracks that don't have as much trouble as that one did. So we'll be patient to start.
Marty, David, and then over here to Nate. Go ahead, Marty.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Johnson, at this time of year for a lot of guys, the points lead is nice, but basically a formality given the chase reset that's looming. Obviously, after he earned the points lead last week, Junior was elated. He was ecstatic. Why do you think it means so much to him to be in that points lead right now?
Man, it means a lot to everybody. I think that maybe his emotion coming through is what others probably should have. At this point of the season, it says a lot if you're leading the points, and I think the fashion in which he's done it with completing all the laps is really impressive. So, we downplay things at times, and maybe won't give other drivers credit when they need it or deserve it. But leading the points right now, I want to lead the points right now. I want to be in control. I think there's a huge message sent by the points leader to the rest of the field. You need to win races, I think, to be well-rounded and to back it up. And he's won one, and we're at a track where he, I think, dominated the last time we were here. So he has every reason to be excited.
Let's go to David, and then Nate. Go ahead, David.
Kind of following up on that a little bit. When Junior first came over to Hendrick Motorsports, a lot of people were saying it was kind of a one-sided deal, that Kyle was a better driver and that Hendrick got the short end of the stick. Has the tide turned on that now?
Didn't understand the first part exactly.
When Junior first came to Hendrick and Kyle had left to go to...
Kyle, okay.
Yeah, Kyle Busch. And so a lot of people said that he was the better driver. It was a lopsided kind of a deal. I know it wasn't a trade, but kind of lopsided there. Is Junior kind of turned the tide on it now, and is he maybe taking advantage of the lead?
Man, I'm trying to go back a few years and remember the circumstances, but I think from a company standpoint, the strength of the company, especially from a business/financial standpoint, to have the lineup of drivers we have maximizes what we can do. I mean, it was good for Hendrick Motorsports to have Junior come on, and we all know that he has talent and ability and can win races and championships. So, I really feel like Rick also, deep in his heart, knew that he could help Junior's situation. Thinking back to difficult times at Earnhardt Incorporated, the drama that was all around it, and performing, just the whole situation, I think was really tough. And Rick knew that he could help steer Junior in the right way, calm down his overall environment, and get him on track and get him going. And we're here today, and happy to see the progress, but it's so hard to say. I mean, Kyle is an amazing talent, and he's gone over to Gibbs and has really developed their equipment and has driven Gibbs into the forefront of racing week in and week out. So it's hard to put say one got a better deal out of it all, but business, I think, was a part of it, and right now everybody's running well, so that's good.
All right, we're going to take three more questions. Nate Ryan, Steve Richards, Seth Livingstone. Go ahead.
Nate Ryan, USA Date. Jimmy, on your right, in case that helps. Maybe it doesn't
Yes.
matter. You're one of four guys who are testing Martinsville Tuesday and Wednesday with the 2013 car, and apparently NASCAR is also going to be looking at some things like getting the weight out of the right side. What are you anticipating from that test? What are you hoping to learn about the new car, and do you know much about what else NASCAR might be trying out?
No, I don't. and it's not uncommon for me to show up to the track and figure out what we're doing. I knew it was a 13 test, but outside of that, I'm not really sure what's going on. I would assume there are changes with the mechanical grip side of the race car. Clearly there's a new body on it, so that'll have some aero implications, although at that track it won't make a difference. But excited to feel the car, to drive the car. You know, we're deep in the year, and 13's coming quick, so happy to be a part of it, and hopefully, you know, I can give some great feedback of the car for you know, to NASCAR and to my team in Chevrolet.
Steve, and then we'll end with Seth.
Steve Richards of PRN. Watkins Glen coming up. You qualifying stellar, but you know you haven't finished too well, especially the last 3 years. What's the reason there, do you think, and what are your thoughts going into Watkins Glen?
Yeah, the thing that gets me at the Glen so much is really fuel mileage. My driving style requires us to stop usually an additional time, and I don't know how to run a fast enough pace and save fuel at the same time there. It really gets me. I think back to a nationwide race where I was driving Junior's car and ran out with a few laps to go. I mean, it happens to me there more than really anywhere. So I'm hopeful that the EFI and the functionality of the EFI will help me there. And we're working hard. We tested 2 days ago, I guess it was, getting ready for the Glen. So we're putting in the whole effort. Hopefully I can be nice on the fuel mileage.
Final question, Seth.
Jimmy, Seth Livingstone from NASCAR.com. I want to ask you about two drivers. One, your teammate, Jeff Gordon. I'm sure you're aware he was just named the winner of the Heisman Humanitarian Award. As somebody who's done an awful lot of fundraising yourself, how proud are you to be a teammate and see a member of the NASCAR community being recognized for all the good he does in terms of pediatric fundraising?
I wasn't aware of that, but I am happy to hear it and think he's extremely deserving. The efforts that he and you know, his office put in place to you know, to make the right decisions, to raise money, his fan base for the support, and again Jeff's commitment. I mean, fundraising and charitable work is only as successful as the person who's behind it, the name that's behind it, and that's Jeff. And I'm very happy for him. That's an amazing honor.
And the second, in light of what's happened with A.J. Allmendinger, how difficult do you think it is going to be for him to bounce back? What do you think his chances are of bouncing back from the situation he's in?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. There's no doubt about it. We don't have anyone else to really base it off of coming back into the sport to get a feel of corporate involvement, team owners' response, you know, how that's going to go for him. But in the car, he was developing at a great pace and showing plenty of speed and very competitive. So time will tell. I think, you know, people like a comeback story, and if AJ's committed to the process and getting back, I'm sure there will be some opportunities. I don't think it's going to be the one that he wants to start, but over time, I would assume he could get back to a good spot. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, and if you own up to your mistakes and learn and grow from it and move on, you know, people are usually somewhat or mostly responsive to that.
Thank you, Jimmy. Have a great weekend.
Got it.